A little video, somewhat of a how-to on how to build or take apart a PC here. So first, obviously you're going to want to take off the thumb screws. Most PCs will have this, or most cases, just for easier access. So you're going to slide it back, you're going to take it off, like so. Doing this one-handed. So I have a fan connected to this one. It's just gonna, these little side things are just gonna pull back and then you pull out the fan. This is connected right here to the fan slot. So this is actually for CPU cooling. But if you don't have, I'm actually not too sure exactly what I can use this for. It might have to deal with water cooling. But yeah, it's just, that's an extra fan plug. So first let's just start with graphics card here. It's already pretty dusty, but so let me zoom in here. You're gonna pull back this little piece. That right there, you don't have to be super gentle. Just don't like scratch anything, but gonna wiggle it, actually. Just forgot. So most graphics cards are better to screw into this little side panel here. That's going to allow it to be stable when you're plugging in like HDMIs and such to the back of it. And just a little tip, whenever you're using HDMIs, don't plug into, don't plug into that one, which is on the motherboard. Always plug in to the graphics card. So either the display port or the HDMI or the DVI. Alright, so you're gonna wanna like put your finger down there, kinda wiggle it back and forth till it comes off. Try not to touch the green little like panels on the back. Sorry if my hand's in the way. You're gonna just kinda yank it out of here. Alright, there you go, Gabe on that side. Yeah, just be careful with this part. Try and touch the plastic for the most part. Then just remove that. So I was mostly just going to dust my PC and kind of show you just kind of how to take it apart. Whoops. This is pretty good. Let me just dust this real quick. Alright, there you go. It was dusted. Just had to do it with one hand, so it wasn't super easy. Alright, we're going to lay it right there. I don't think you're supposed to lay it on that side just because of all the like electronics and such there on the carpet. At least I'm doing this on the floor, so I don't know how productive that is. Alright, so this is your RAM. I'm not going to take all of it out, but each one of these is 4 gigabytes, so that's just 16 is what's installed on here. I'll show you how to take the first set out here. So this is actually probably the most easiest part. You just plop it in there. You can't put it in wrong because one side's shorter than the other. So it's always going to drop in the right spot. But that's my Vengeance LPX DDR4. And this, I'm not really going to dust it at the moment just because it might be a little time consuming. So with Intel fans, they're not like AMD, I don't think, because some of them will like push down to remove this. You're just gonna have to probably figure it out, because I've never worked with AMD stuff before. This is being stubborn. Alright, there you go. And then for the CPU fan, all you're gonna do, just gently kind of wiggle it out a little bit. They should all be off. Theoretically, they should all be off. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be your thermal paste there. That's what that gray stuff is. I'll probably reapply mine. It's good to do it every once in a while. I'm not going to... That's where the CPU would plug in there. Or the CPU fan, sorry. And then to remove this, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just push down and remove that lever. And then this whole tray just kind of comes up. That's your CPU right there. I'm not gonna mess with that right now. You just get the idea. It will, when installing it, there's gonna be like a little triangle on one of the sides of the CPU is gonna match up. It's right there. If you can see, or actually, I'll take this off again to show you here. Alright. And there, okay, so there it is right there. That little triangle is gonna match up with this little triangle on the motherboard. That way you don't install it wrong. I'm not exactly sure if AMD has the same design. Like I said, I've never worked with them. But that's just for the CPU part. The rest of the parts in the computer are pretty much the same for the most part. Just gonna gently put this back in here, set it all in all the screw holes here, and you're just gonna twist those fan pieces back in. Pretty easy. I'm not putting it in right here. Hold on, I will be right back. Sometimes it's a little fidgety. Oh my god, okay, I just did like 3 minutes of trying to do this crap. Never mind, Intel fans are absolutely horrendous to try and get in here. It was just annoying. If you need help on it, look up another video on it. I haven't switched this fan out in forever, so I'm not super good at putting it back in. Or I just not doing it right. Anyway, aside from that. So, most of your fans are going to be these 3-prong fans here. Or these little, not fans, but plugs. They're going to look like that. You just want to face these little tooth ends right there. You want to face that on the side. You're going to see like a little rivet there, if I can zoom in. You'll see like a little rivet there. Just gonna line those up with that little rivet. Usually they're like, they'll have 4 prongs here, but it still, oops, put it wrong. It still fits right. It's just to fit in case you have like 4 prong. So what else? There are these little SATA cables here. They're gonna, or SATA, however you want to say it. They're gonna plug into, these are like your media transfer tools. But they're gonna plug into like just these little shaped pieces here. You can see that. That's pretty easy. Sorry, my cable management isn't the best, but it's kind of hard when you don't have a modular and everything's just kind of like stuck right there. So what I meant by media cables is, so this is my hard drive here. This is another SATA cable. You just want to press down on that top little prong there, this little piece. Just press down on that. That's going to release it. You're going to plug that into the hard drive there. Get it in here. Alright, there you go. Okay. So there's that, and this is my solid state up here, which is just like a faster version of memory. So this just basically, oh, well, that's dusty. That just basically like helps my PC run a little faster. It's not put in there too well, but it doesn't have to be completely flat because it's a solid state, it's not a hard drive. So there's no disk spinning in it. So that's that, and then so the power cables that plug into this stuff. So this is what runs essentially your devices that you'll plug in. So that comes from the power supply here, and it's going to be wired into the solid state here, and like your hard drive, or this also is your disk drive. So basically every one of your little media tools here is going to have a power supply and a SATA cable. So like as you can see, my disk drive down here has the same thing. If you can, might be a little too dark, but it's got the same thing on there, that power cable, and then your standard SATA. What else? Other than that, there's not much. The last thing is just like the power supply here. It's pretty easy. And also you're going to want a 500 watt if you ever build a PC. It's just the best standard, unless you're going to get like super crazy with your parts and just extremely high tech or really expensive parts will run off of a higher wattage. Mine's just 500 watt, runs everything. So this is your power supply, so it's just going to screw in on these little panels here, on these corners, and then once you unscrew it, this whole piece is just going to slide out. Also, so the most important part of the power is you got to plug in the motherboard. So this is a pain in the butt to get out and remove, but I'm going to do it for you. So I'll show you once I pull it out. There's a little like a side piece like I showed you on those SATA cables. You just like press down on it and then it unclamps and then you can pull it out. Try not to yank too much, kind of wiggle it free a little bit. Just make sure you don't break anything. It's in there pretty good. Like I said, this is the most ridiculous part of getting it out because it just sticks. Okay, anyway, forget it. I almost had it, but forget it. Don't break the motherboard. Anyway, you're gonna notice this right away. There's no other cord in the computer like this. It's gonna have all these colors here, and it's just a giant, thick and long piece right here. It's got each individual prongs. You'll see them. Usually it'll say like power inside of there when you unplug it. You'll know what I mean. Sometimes they can be separated. So different motherboards have like a different amount of prongs. So like this end here has 4 prongs, and the rest is, I don't know exactly how many prongs. But sometimes they'll be separated, and you'll just plug them all in together. And then this is the CPU power here. They'll be labeled CPU right there. All you have to do, just unplug them. They're a lot easier than that because it's just, they're less prongs. And you're just gonna drop it in. Usually it's in this corner of the motherboard, usually. Just gonna drop it down in there. Alright, that's in there. What else? So these plugs right here, what these are, this is actually for the case. This runs, what does it run? I can't remember what it runs. I know that's part of the power supply and the case. I got these mixed up. So what I was talking about is these little guys down here. They'll be labeled in tiny little letters down there what each one means. So one of these is just LED, and then one, the most important part is the power switch. So all cases will come with a little cord that you plug it in the motherboard that allows you to use your top power button right there, that one. That just allows you to use it. Other than that, I don't really think there's too much else. If you have any questions, just let me know. I can help you. And then these, basically, you're just gonna unscrew. Let's start with this one. So you can just unscrew this here. Just gonna unscrew that. And then this would just allow you to slide out your whole panel here where your hard drive would go. Some PCs are like that. It just allows for customization and such. So the reason I stuck my hard drive behind my fan is because it sometimes gets hot and it just cools it down much easier than if it's stuck in like a sealed compartment, and it's not really good for your hard drives to get hot. Your solid state is fine because there's no moving parts, so that's not a big issue. Alright, so we'll just reinstall the RAM here. Sorry if you can't see much, but anyway, it's pretty easy. The lengths of the little plugins will correspond to the slot that they go in. Also, a little tip, forgot, when you're installing RAM, so if you just have 2 sticks, you want to fill up the first one and then the second one. So just like, or the third one, sorry. So the opposites. And then for your 3rd and 4th sticks of RAM, you want to do the opposite. And this actually helps with color coding. So this one's black and then gray and gray. What this does is it just helps your computer use your RAM a lot faster. So it can use both of them at the same time. And that's obviously going to help your performance. Nothing else really. It's just kind of my PC here. These things right here are for if you want to plug anything on the inside of your computer, so you can run a wire out. And I'll drop the graphics card in here. Actually, that is a very important part. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Alright, we're just gonna drop that in there. So this is pretty easy too. Your little slots are gonna correspond to each other. Just make sure they're in there alright. And drop it in. Alright, there it goes. Gonna kind of wiggle it in. Alright, once you hear it kind of, or feel it, and hear it slide in, make sure you're good. Alright, when it's all the way in, clamp that again. Then you're gonna want to screw this in so it's not dangling there when you plug in your HDMIs and everything. Let's see if it... Alright, I'm gonna put the screw in. I need 2 hands. I will be right back. Alright, so it's in. All I did was just gotta fit this screw in the little slot there and then just screw it in, obviously. That is about it. I'm gonna stand it back up again. Usually the PCs are pretty heavy too. Be aware of that. Let me slide it back here. Alright, there you go. So, we're going to flip this around. Line it up with your little slots here. Slide it in. Just gonna wanna get the thumb screws in the slot here. Another thing that I was gonna tell you, when you're setting up fans, that fan's really dusty. Holy crap! All right. When you're setting up fans, you're gonna want to make maximum airflow. Sorry, just dusting a little bit on top. Wow, that's a lot of dust. You can see how much I dust this. Just all the time. Alright. So, let me move my fan so there's a bunch of wind noise on my light. So, these are pretty dusty too. Let me dust that off. You want to make sure the front fans are always sucking in air. You want them to suck in air. That way you're gonna make sure they're just facing the right way. You're gonna see the sticker on the front that usually means the right way, and there's nothing, no like guards in front of the fan. So that means it's going to suck air in, and then this one's gonna suck air in. So what that helps with is, so it pulls cool air into the PC and into the system, cools all the parts. And then this top fan is my exhaust, and this back fan is the exhaust. So essentially it's just pulling air in and then out that way. So warm air out the top, cold air in the front. Never put all the fans blowing in at once. You're not gonna get very efficient cold air or heat or cooling at all, because they're all gonna be pulling in. There's nothing gonna be coming out. So yeah, this one's gonna blow out. What I was talking about when there's no guards, which means it's the back. So let me move my light over here while it's bright. Alright, so you can see there's guards in front of that fan here. So that means it's the back of the fan. Same with like up here. You can kind of see those guards there, and you'll see the wire running right there. That means it's the back. So that means it's going to be blowing out or towards you when you're installing it. So that's about it. Other than that, not much else that I think I need to talk about. Power supply, power switch, pretty easy stuff. You got all your ports on the front, headphones, microphone, and 2 USBs. Yeah. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.